Wood Turners, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. Welcome to my shop. I've been cleaning up and I found an old set of wood threaders. Now these are chasers. These which you don't use it like a tap and a die. You actually chase the threads. And there's a trick to it. And as far as I know, no one's really figured it out. I've seen a lot of gizmos, a lot of gadgets, a lot of ideas, a lot of how-tos. But then I just play with it. It's amazing how nice it'll come out. So I played with this little piece. And now I didn't have a plan going in. So I have to turn some kind of lid that'll fit over it and get into this receiver, and then I'll probably put a little design on the top of it. Make this thing into something. You never can tell. But you want to talk about thread chasing? Let's talk. All you gotta do, watch. I'm going to use some Sorby tools. First one is going to be a relief scraper. It's made to put a notch in the back of the thread so that when you're chasing you have a place to stop. Alright? That can be done with a couple other tools. This is the internal thread chaser. And this is the external thread chaser. Now, I do know you can make these. You could file this out of something that's tool steel, put those notches in it, long as they match up to the size thread you want. This is a number 10 TPI. So find a 10 TPI bolt and you match the threads. This one has to match, you understand? Okay. They also have a 16 TPI. A little bit finer thread. And I think there's one more in the set. Let me check. Yeah, there's a 20 TPI. Then there's a thread gauge. Now the gauge comes in the kit, but if you don't get the gauge, you can work around it. Now, right off the bat, these cut as scrapers. So if this isn't nice and sharp, you go ahead and sharpen it. You take a diamond card and you flatten it out and you sharpen it, because these have to be cut and sharp. The other thing, and I don't understand this, and maybe it was done just to mess with my mind, but all these move on a tool rest to be used. They either, let me get on one here, they either move in and out of the piece or back and forth. Yet all the manufacturers I ran across have got square corners on them, which means they dig into the tool rest. So I immediately took it out back and softened all these corners and flattened that bottom, because I don't want it to dig in when it's moving. That's just something I do all my scrapers if they're going to slide. Now, let me get you in position and we're going to talk about what happens with thread chasing. I'm going to show this to you on a sampler I played with. You do internal threads, and we're going to do them on our lid. We have to go inside here and put a relief. You see that relief? So that when I'm chasing it, this tool goes back across here. When he gets to that relief, I can pick it back up and move it, because I'm chasing the threads, chasing it as it goes down. So that relief is important on the internal threads. Now on the external threads, I need the same thing. This time I had it around like this. It was still on a glue block. I put a relief back here because as I was moving the outside one along, I needed a place to get out. So when you see me say I'm coming to a relief to get out the relief, chasing is a rhythm. Let me start right off. You can't chew gum and walk. Don't even play around with this. Well, play around with it. It's fun anyway. Okay. This is mahogany. It was rather soft. This is Wingay. I want to find out what happens here. Changing the program. This is going to be the outside of the piece. The external threads are going to be right here. Then I'm going to cut a lid out of another one and go over the top, and it'll slip over the top like this and have a lid. Got it? I think you do. Now, with that, I need to crank up this machine and straighten this out, get me a program going. To do that, I'm going to take a bowl gouge. I'm between centers being held in a strong hold chuck. I have that block on a glue block. I'm bringing it up to 2,000 RPMs, and I'm going to clean up the outside. I stopped the piece to take a look at it, see if there's any tears or cracks or anything I can't live with. I do like the wavy grain in this piece. I'm going to go ahead and put my spot in the top and my receiver. So my lid is going to come down to a point about overall right about there. Okay? I fine-tuned that little receiver, that relief, with a square end scraper I have made just for boxes. Helps me clean that up. I can also clean up this one face right here. So that's pretty much set. Now, trial and error, I've determined I need about a 3/16 wall thickness on the lid. So this is going to work out. And I want to get as much as I can out of this jar, so I'm going to go with this as my size. Next, we're going to get ready to thread it. In this perspective, you might not be able to catch it. There's a groove right here. See it? It's about a 1/4 inch wide. This has been cleaned up nicely. Oh, this is going to be a gorgeous top on this box. I mean, just gorgeous. This is my thread area right here. I've moved your position because I want you to see how the tool works. Speed is about 350. Now if you have a mini jet, you're going to say, wait Cap, my mini jet doesn't go to 350. I've done them on a mini jet at 500 RPMs. You just have to be pretty good. And I know you are. I'm going to put a little wax on that tool rest. Just a little bit of my sanding wax, because I want it to move on there. This is the tool. It's sharpened on the top edge. It works like a scraper. We start with a very simple move. We've got to soften the corner right here. Just a little bit of a break. And that's so I can come around it. Now I'm going to do this. Got it? Every pass, I'm trying to pass it a little bit further down the piece. You see why I say you have to soften the back of it? You want it to move very nicely. Hold on, I want you to see what happens at the back of the cut. Now, if you don't get seasick on me, we're all right. Again, this cutting edge is up, the angle is down. I softened the corners on the back of it so it slides. I have a little bit of wax and I try to keep the trash off of it. I'm going to come across this corner and just do a rhythm, just like that. Watch this side. Out. 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 Now, I want you to, when I get right here, I let the piece take the cutter and then I put some effort on it. Okay? Take a look at that. Those threads are cut in. That's a really good thread cutting job. They are there. They're in. They're not uniformly deep because my habit is to go from this side, so I swing out. So now I'll make the last few cuts pulling this way to make sure they go in. Check the depth. Stop the machine, put the thread cutter in. If it's gone full depth, like that, you've cut a full set of threads. Now, this corner should be softened a little bit. You can do it by just scraping it around just so that you don't have a raggedy little fine edge right here that'll keep breaking off. So let's do that, then I'll move you and we're going to go ahead and start hollowing out the rest of this piece. Move a little bit of this so I get a better idea what I'm working on. I can always come back to this, it's on a glue block. So this isn't necessary at this time. Well, oh, okay, that'll make that sense. Wood is hard. I mean, I've had to change gouges a couple of times already. Vibration I don't recognize and don't like, so I'm checking something. Maybe I got a little looseness back here. Yep, a little bit right there. I'm down tight. But when you feel a vibration of something you don't recognize, stop and check it. Like one of those NASCAR drivers saying, I hear that vibration, but that tire will get better. As Darrell Waltrip says, it makes for good TV. I would finish this out once I've set that, okay, that's what I'm going to work with, I drill a hole in the belt to the middle where I want it at. Then I'd hollow it. I can do this with one of my Blackhawk 14mm square or 15mm R2 cutters and just pass it down the sidewall and get rid of the material. We may come back and do that, but this is going to be a long video to start with. I've now chucked up the other piece of this Wingay, and it really is a beautiful piece of wood. It's got nice characteristics to it, some nice grain, waffling, and I think I'm going to be happy with it. Now, normally you do the internal threads and then do the external threads. I do it backwards just because you can do it. I need to be a little bit smaller than this being the outside of the threads. I need to be a little bit tighter to start, and then I can always open it up with the thread chaser. It's real hard to put the wood back on, easy to take it off. So we'll start with this being the target. Now, got it in here, and I'm going to go ahead and face it off a little bit. I'm going to get 2 lids out of this piece. So I'm not going to slice it off yet. I'm going to make one, slice it off, and then get another. So this is the target. This was where I need to go to hollow. I'm touching on this side and I'm reading on that side. Okay? Then I'm going to clean this up. Uh-oh. Something just moved. Yep. The glue block moved. I got an email about this the other day about a guy that said his glue blocks kept moving. And I always check mine to make sure that I have a real dovetail down in there. But I roughed this in a minute ago and I didn't check it again. A little bit of vibration, you stop and fix it. I'm going to go ahead and put a center mark in. Get a little bit of depth in there. About how deep my lid will be. Then I clean this out. Take this out, and I'm going ahead and use one of my R2 cutters. Work from a center hole. Real easy. Take those even slices. Keeps the sides straight. And it leaves a nice bottom in it. Great part about using this tool to do this is going straight in. I need the sides to be very parallel, and I want the lid to be very clean up there in the top. And I clean out that corner. Nice how that works out. Oh, by the way, if you're using my bars. You see how the bars over gap? That's so that 6 different cutters will fit on that bar. How do I hold that in place? I put 1 drop of CA glue underneath that cutter when I snugged it up. When I want to change it, I loosen the screw, put a little cigarette lighter on it, boop, turn the cutter. Alright? Now, let's check to see where we are. We're still a little bit heavy. But now I want to start making my cuts. I want to set my recess down in there and get ready. This is one of the hardest cuts to make on this whole thing because I feel that you're in a situation where you get jeopardized pretty quickly. You get way back in here. And the cut, you want to pull hard enough to feed it, but not hard enough to make it cut. You see what we did? Put that recess down in there. That's our relief recess. And we're going to start cutting threads, and if we need to, we're going to increase that recess a little bit. Right now we've got to soften this one corner. That's the corner we start working with. Turn the speed down too soon. It's real easy if you soften that to start. Speed goes down to 350. Then we come in with this chaser. Now, you can do left-hand threads. Yeah, by going the wrong way. It seems to be easy if you went in and pulled out. Well, that gives you left-hand threads. So you come over here on an angle. Can't cut low. If this is low, it'll rub and not cut because it's acting as a scraper. Go up a little bit. Again, you'll feel the rhythm and you'll feel it pull in. See if I'm going to try to move you to a better spot to see this. You couldn't get in a better spot if you were here. Now, again, I come from the corner. Now watch, I'm gonna go real slow. Watch. I'm gonna read it here. It'll grab the bar and then it'll help me pull it on around. Got it? See what happens there? Again, let's go real slow. I want to show you what happens back here. As it goes back, it's pulling a cutter in. When I get to the back of the cut, if I don't have that relief groove, I don't have a way to get out. I need to have that relief groove back there. You understand what it's doing now? So I can get out. You can't see that. I need to do something about light. I don't think I can improve the light any more than what I have already. So let me explain again. This cutter gets pulled in. When it gets to the back of the cut, it has to have a void back there in order to get out. Back up to 350 again. It's where the rhythm comes in. Takes a gentle touch right here to get it to come into this, to grab a tooth, but not cut a new groove. The rhythm you hear is a hardwood, softwood, hardwood, softwood. Now, we're at this size. I'm going to show you a little something else, but we're not big enough. We're a whole thread off. So, we chase this down a little bit, remove some material off the top of it, make sure our bottom is cleaned out enough, and we go back to chasing again. There's also a gizmo called the hook tool, and the tool, your internal threaded rod's on it, and it helps you pull it in. Again, the manufacturer's version is square cornered, doesn't slide very well. I did this out of a piece of round stock, heated it up with MAP gas, bent it, ground the corner out, flattened it out a little bit. Works really good for me. Again, you get a good ride. Helps you hold the cutter square to the tool also, to the hole. Yeah. We resized it, cleaned it up, went out about the width of one thread, and boy, I chased it down again. And boy, I love the way this hardwood cuts these nice clean threads. And, oh yeah, you have to angle that edge a little bit or it just tears off. And then, we're at the right size. We really are. Now, I'll tell you what I do here. Because threads and wood tend to bind together, just a little bit of sanding wax and toothbrush, and I'll rub a little bit of sanding wax in the threads, just a little bit. Now, it won't hurt to finish because whatever I put on will go. I'll clean this off a little bit, and also do it over here on the male threads. That just lets them slide against each other a little bit easier. Okay? Then when I rub them together, that friction of edge grain, end grain, edge grain, end grain goes away, and I end up with a good set of threads. Okay? Now, these threads are too long to go on that receiver, but you trim them off. I will trim them off in a minute. I only want about 2 full revolutions on it. It's not like a apothecary jar where I want to have it super tight. So I'll cut it back down to 1 or 2 threads. Then, well, right now I'm going to measure up, part this off, put it back on this after I've cleaned this up, hollowed it out, and then finish it up. That's chasing threads, boys and girls. It's a little involved. The kit runs 150 and 120 bucks. It's a great detail for a great project. Again, what I'm going to do now, set the lid, part it off, get it ready to go back on here. I'm going to trim these threads down. It'll be only 2 or 3 threads that'll go into the lid. That's all I need. But it'll be this way, and I can hollow it. I'll put the lid on. I'll put a little piece of tissue between them so it doesn't bind down. Shape the whole thing and get it finished. I think this would be a great addition to a beautiful piece of wood. And this Wingate is a gorgeous piece of wood. I hope they have a couple more blocks of this back at the lumberyard when I go back this month. Well, there you have it. We've been in the shop today. It's Memorial Day. Clint Eastwood's been on the TV in 3 different continents kicking ass. I think he's checking out naked women in Grenada on this one. But we've had a little fun making shavings. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. If I can help you, drop me a note right here at this address, eddiecastellan@cox.net. And remember, your source for carbide cutters, Big Eye Productions, www.eddiecastellan.com. Way down there on the end, got all the credits and all the information you need. Until next time, you take care and be safe in that shop. Thread chasing. You're right. And just like chasing the dog chasing the car, you don't know what you got a hold of until you actually catch it. I do like this project, though. I do. I've been roasting pig out there for the last hour, and it just came to fruition. Couldn't resist, so I went out and got a little bit. In fact, while you watch the credits, I'm going to go get some more. Hey, I figured before we wrap all this up, you'd want to see what the finished project looks like. Went ahead, did a little quick finish on it. 3 full turns and it locks down. I finished the bottom, put a slight dome on the top. I do like how there's an open grain all over it. I'm going to take another piece, put a basic finish on it, and try some liming wax to see how the liming wax will accent those little beads. It might make for an additional sparkle in it. But that's one nice looking piece. We did a little thread chasing, and I'm glad you could join me. You needed to see the finished part. I'll see you later. Take care.